I came back into the house.
Get started. Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Board of Ed meeting. The date is Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. And can I ask you to turn your cell phones off as this meeting is being recorded? Ellen, can you please do the roll call?
Yes, thank you, Chair Granato. Good evening, everyone. Ms. Carson? Here. Mr. Gary?
Present.
Mrs. DeRoberts? Ms. Hernandez-Williams? Here. Mr. Riley?
Here.
Ms. Walters?
Present.
Mr. Weiner?
Here.
Vice Chair Mr. Lacavoli?
Here.
Chairperson Mrs. Granato?
Present.
And, I'm sorry, the Wethersfield Public Schools Board Chair, Kid Board Chair for Web School, Emma, Ms. Emma, I can't see your last name.
Alaprezi.
Alaprezi? That's not how you say it? Thank you.
Got it? We got it. Okay.
And also the...
Mary?
Yes, Wethersfield High School Student Representative.
Here.
Mary Dunn. All present.
Thanks, Ellen. Okay, well, our KID Board of Ed Chair from Webb Elementary School, Emma Alaprezi, is to join us, she's right here, and to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Emmett, we have one of our student and staff recognition again tonight, right next to me.
Yes.
And I'd like to introduce again our KID Board of Ed Chair for Webb School, Emma Alaprezi, who will be reading the essay that won her this KID Chair Award. Emma, you want to read it for us? Go right ahead.
My name is Emma Alaprezi. Dear members of the Wethersfield Board of Education, making our schools better should be our top priority. There are a lot of things that have many reasons why I think they should be improved, but I'm going to focus on the ones that I believe are most important and why. First, food improvement. I believe that there should be more options for fresh produce along with other food items. Something else I believe should be improved is the amount of supplies and materials given to educators. They do not have enough supplies to last the whole year or even the first 5 months, and tend to have to spend their own money on resources for their classroom. And finally, building community with their town. If I was chosen as KID Board of Education Chair, I would make these changes. In the cafeteria, there are quite a few choices: peanut butter and jelly, bagels, cereal, and a hot lunch depending on what day it is. However, many kids skip past the fruits and vegetables as they don't look very appetizing, as well as there's not much variety, and it's the same every day. However, I would like to solve this problem by switching out the fruits and vegetables every day or every other day. That way there's something new to look forward to. Another problem with the food is almost it's all the same. For example, every Tuesday is chicken nuggets, and every Friday is pizza. I believe that if we were to switch up the days we have for each food, kids would be more excited and not as bored with the same foods every week. If I am nominated to be KID Chair, these are a few of the changes that I would truly like to see and do. Teachers get very minimal supplies each year. The supplies barely last them 5 months, possibly less. I think that educators should get more money or even supplies for their classroom. More than half of the time, teachers have to go out of their way to buy and spend their own money to buy more supplies for their classroom. There are quite a few solutions to this problem, but if there were school fundraisers where the whole school or even 4th grade and up could set a fundraiser for their cause. There are many times and reasons where fundraising would make an outstanding solution. However, this cause would be great for raising money so teachers can buy the supplies that are needed in order to have the right amount of supplies needed. Finally, the last reason why I should be the new KID Board Education Chair is because I truly believe that we should build community. There should be events where all the elementary schools should do something together. should not only meet new people, but the people we share our beloved community with. It would be something as small as a picnic or even a meet and greet where everyone comes together in Old Wethersfield. In conclusion, that is why I, Emma Lampruzzi, want to be the new kid chair. I went over many things that would be my main priority, but here's a quick summary. I thoroughly believe that there should be more food options, something for everyone that will like and eat. There should be more money for educators to buy and supply for their classes, and finally building a stronger community. Many people who want to be the Board of Ed chair are only focusing on what would be good for them in the long run, but I am and will continue to do whatever is best for everyone. I have so many other ideas to build our community even further and improve our town. If you choose me as your new Board of Education chair, I will work hard to improve the new and the old. Thank you. I'm Alan Precy.
Yeah, Emma said she loves to write, and boy, can she write. How about another round of applause for our kid chair? All right, thank you, Emma. And we'll continue with our staff and student recognition, and we have Silas Deane Middle School represented by the man in the wavy shirt back there.
Right away. Good evening, John Cassio, 33 Colonial Drive, Wethersfield, Connecticut. First of all, I want to thank you once again for allowing me to come before you. But more importantly, I'd like to thank the Silas Deane Middle School 8th grade team who came together and wrote essays. Several of those students are here with us tonight. Many, many students got themselves involved with this voluntary essay contest. I'd like to thank Kathy Williams and Sally DeSoli for their help, as well as I would like to thank the Charles Wright School Art Department kids who decorated the hallways with their posters. So we have a lot going on, Wethersfield. But right now, I'd like to call up 3 Silas Deane Middle School students. In no particular order, Rohag Williams, come on up. Adina Ajaz, and Colette Rochambeau. These 3 students not only wrote an essay, but they will be reading their essay at the Memorial Day Parade this year. The committee felt it was very important for us to get the word out, to show what these children are doing at the Silas Deane Middle School. Their essay was, what does Memorial Day mean for them? The 80th anniversary of D-Day. So with that, 3 individuals came forward out of the group of many students that wrote their essays. So on behalf of the Memorial Day Parade Committee, thank you for being a part of this annual event in Wethersfield. It's almost like they're on the Kelly Clarkson show. They're here tonight, and Monday they're going to be at the town council meeting. So we're getting the word out that there's a lot of good going on at the middle school. A lot of good things are happening. And more importantly, I want to thank each team at the middle school who led the challenge for these students. So, with that being said, we're going to go in alphabetical order. And Adina will come first.
Many people see Memorial Day as a time to have a long-awaited rest from school or work. It is a day to gather with family, enjoy hamburgers, and socialize. However, while enjoying a day off, we should all commemorate the men and women who have sacrificed for our country and should be given their credit for outstanding acts of service. Every time I think of Memorial Day, a sense of gratitude washes over me. I may not know any of the people who perished personally, but the fact that they put their lives on the line storming into battles bravely so we could live life comfortably is a reason to care. Every year, I spend time thinking about how I would never have enough courage or strength to ever go through what they did. I have an unimaginable appreciation for their help to defeat terrible dictators, especially as someone from a country who's faced similar trials. I look up to the way that they continue to make an impact even after their deaths. They motivate this generation to protect the freedoms that they gave us and to devote time and raw effort to this cause. They are more than just figures to look up to. They are blueprints and definitions of dedication and care. As this year we not only honor Memorial Day, but also the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I reflect on how the Allied soldiers must have felt during those first moments on the beach in Normandy. Were they thinking that even 80 years after their commitment, they'd still be appreciated, recognized figures? They thought about us when walking to battle, therefore there is no excuse to forget them on Memorial Day, even as we enjoy our picnics.
Joe Lesniewski, a veteran of D-Day, recalls, "I don't feel that I'm any kind of hero. To me, the work had to be done. I was asked to do it. So I did." To others, like Joe, this is a sacrifice that was necessary. To some people, Memorial Day is just a day to appreciate American freedom. For others, it is just a day off. However, this special day goes much deeper. First known as Decoration Day, a day to decorate the graves of dead soldiers, and after World War I, Memorial Day began to focus on every soldier and veteran, not just departed soldiers. In 1971, Richard Nixon made the day a federal holiday. For me, Memorial Day is a connection to my great-grandfather, Victor DePace, who served in the D-Day invasion. Though I never had the ability to meet him, he told my father about his experiences. I remember seeing the beach, going off into the water, and just getting stuck there. He ended up having to stay in the water, helplessly watching the Germans fire their weapons from the safety of the ocean, unable to do anything but stay put. Thankfully, he survived to tell about his experiences, even though he watched others perish. It's interesting to hear about these battles, showing how much people like my great-grandfather and Joe sacrificed to guarantee our country's security. Celebrating Memorial Day can be different for everyone. Perhaps their town holds a celebration, or a parade with a speech from a veteran. I celebrate Memorial Day by cherishing everything that soldiers have done for us, and appreciating many of my relatives that served in the military as well. Joe doesn't see himself as a hero, but those who face death are. Without them, who knows where America would be.
And Rohag.
Home of the free, because of the brave, unknown. Memorial Day to many people means the kickoff for summer, but to me it means much more than just a beach day. Memorial Day to me means a day to remember all those veterans that have passed, but specifically the ones that were with my dad in Iraq during his 2 tours. My dad is a combat veteran that fought during Operation Enduring Freedom in the Battle of Fallujah, codenamed Phantom Fury. This battle that lasted from November 7th to December 23rd was one of the bloodiest battles in current war history. 110 collision forces were killed. Normally during Memorial Day weekend, it is difficult for me to talk to my dad about it because this is a difficult topic to talk about as he was there and witnessed the unbearable pain that war brings. The trauma that happened overseas is common, and this is why it's important to give military families space on this weekend. It allows families to remember their loved ones that pass. Honor and remembrance. Greater love hath no man to lay down his life for his brothers. Lieutenant Michael Murphy. Honor and remembrance are 2 important components, even if you do not agree with what the U.S. military contributes to our country. Showing honor towards the fallen soldiers could be done in many ways. One way that my family, friends, and I show honor and remembrance is by doing a workout every Memorial Day weekend called the Murph Challenge. The Murph Challenge is an arduous workout for us, and for us is a time to suffer a bit and show respect for difficult situations. The weekend of Memorial Day is a set time to stop and think about the honor that the fallen soldiers deserve.
So now you can see why they are reading their essays. Each one of them had a different story to tell. Many of them were personal, which really brings it to heart and what the true meaning of Memorial Day is. So even as 8th graders, they bring it out. So we're very proud of these 3 students, and we're very proud of the kids at the Silas Middle School and all of our schools in Wethersfield. So they will be marching in the Memorial Day Parade, and it's an honor for me. I met them last Friday at school, and we met with their principal, and they're great, really well-respected, mature, and as you can see, they're ready to face the future. So very proud of them. Parents are here with them. You want to just stand up and say hello to the parents?
Christina, stand up, Christina.
Thank you so much for coming out and supporting your children. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone with comments up here? Well, I'm going to say thank you to all of you. And John, you are like the best advocate for our students. Thank you very much for the work you do. Thank you all. Thanks.
So I did want to say that the principal offered to help them with their public speaking, and I just thought that was so cool that she took the time to do that. Our principals and our teachers are just always working hard, so I have to give a shout out to them. Sorry.
Great.
I mean, I'm
Thank
proud of
you.
The three of you.
That's a proud mama up here. Thank you, thank you. All right, and we have one more student and staff recognition. I think they went on a trip. Sue Coco, can you come on up here? And you know, we love to say yes to them when they're going on these trips, and it's great to hear how the trip went.
Yes, so we just took 45 kids to Paris, Rome, Florence. Where else did we go? Nice, Monaco. We had a fabulous time, went to the Vatican. And I have a couple kids who are going to be talking about it. Steve Carr, you went to...
So I just went to Belize with 10 kids, and it was a great experience, wonderful time.
And so we have a couple kids who are going to talk about their experience and how it affected them. And then I also have a parent who's going to share his view on two of his kids who returned over the past couple of years from a couple of these trips. So I think it'll be really valuable.
Hi. So traveling with the school is more than just being on the beach and the coast of France. It's truly an educational experience, and you really immerse yourself with the history and the culture of the countries that you are in. So in France, we really learned about like the French Revolution, and in Italy about like the Renaissance. And this was really important because I was able to connect this to things that I was learning in school in my European history class. So it was nice to see that information from school is actually relevant, and it makes it more, I guess it makes school a little bit more interesting to like connect it to the real world. I also think that traveling with the school teaches you how to face real life problems. Me and one of my friends in the audience, we both got sick in other countries, and we really had to learn how to communicate and like break the communication barrier in order to get things that we needed. We also had to we just had to problem solve and find ways to make the most of the experience, even though it was kind of a struggle. So I think it's really educational in terms of what you're learning and also like real world skills. So my name is Anna Kazanji.
So Anna, I actually have a great video, I should have added it in here, where she has no voice whatsoever. She's sitting there in a chair, she's like, Miss Coco. I'm like, okay, you're fine, you can do this. When we tour with these kids, we talk about as soon as we get on the bus and say goodbye to the parents, it is really a maturing experience. They have to learn how to navigate the world. Just the airport alone can be super challenging. So every moment on that trip to me is a learning experience, and I just love to watch these kids go and figure it out. And now I have Lena Rodriguez.
Yes, I'm Lena Rodriguez, and I'm a sophomore at Wethersfield High School. So it sounds daunting to think that I was a freshman planning this trip, but it's also because, like, Miss Coco says it all the time, as soon as you go on this trip, even though you're with strangers that you see in the hallway, you do become a travel family, and you just learn to communicate and become an independent person because you don't have your parents there. There's a whole time, like, hour difference, so you're not always communicating with your parents. So it's just learning how to communicate with your peers there, communicating with the teachers, and even just the people around in that area, having to order in restaurants and talk to the bus driver. So it really is an experience that teaches you responsibility and just independence.
So Lena's actually tailoring the next
yes.
trip.
So
It's like a pre-approval.
So I can't get away from Miss Coco. I had to go on another trip, and so obviously there's all these different tours that you can go on, but I decided to be inspired by one of the tours to Portugal and Spain and kind of modify it because it's 12 days and we only have spring break, so it's a little short. Yeah, you want to add a couple days? So in order to do that, I had to work with Ms. Coco, and Ms. Coco is working with the tour group to just modify it so we might be seeing a couple different places than what it's shown on the website, but that's going to be fun. And that's part of why I'm going again, because obviously I came back and told all my friends about it, and they want to go on more trips. So it's an experience for me to go on again and experience new cultures, because it's Portugal and Spain this time, but then also to be there and see my friends experience it for the first time, because it truly is different than any other trip that I've gone on with my parents.
Hi, Rajaman Raj. I've got 3 kids in the school system, 2 in high school. I will put these away because I was sitting next to Lena and I think she stole my notes. But I can't pass up the opportunity to first thank you for Ms. Coco. I think back on my entire career in education with high school, engineering school, law school, and I can tell you the 3 teachers, professors that had the greatest impact on my life. I'm confident that my boys will have that same conversation one day with their kids, and her name will be in that list. So I want to thank you for that. But as a parent, watching the kids come back from this trip, you're curious as to how different they're going to be, or are they really going to be different? You're worried about, hey, this one doesn't eat anything but chicken nuggets. By the way, I'd say bring chicken nuggets back twice a week, not just once a week. Or this one has trouble, like, talking to people. Those things go away when they go on this trip, because it's really the first time that they're away internationally without their parents. They have to grow up a little bit, right? They don't have that 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio anymore. It is, I don't know, like 6 or 7 kids to every chaperone, and they've got to do things on their own. The level of confidence that we saw in both of our boys when we came back, amazing. They were able to try new foods. We went out to dinner the other night, and the son who just came back from Ashford Maharaj, who just came back from France and Italy, is very, very, I'm eating pasta or I'm eating a piece of chicken. That's it. And we're at dinner the other night, and he orders arugula, and I'm like, what? And he's trying new things. I can't emphasize the impact that this trip has on children. I wish more kids can go, but I just want to thank you, and I think it's the best program in the school system. So thank you.
Sorry, I wasn't on the Europe trip, but I went to Belize with a bunch of kids. So just to kind of add my own thing, I try to get a couple students here, but obviously they're busy towards the end of the year. I took 10 kids to Belize, and I was very fortunate to have a group of kids that they didn't really know each other either. And, you know, the best thing about going on these trips is that you don't have to. You become very close with people that you may not in the school system possibly get along with or hang out with, and these kids really bond. And I was very lucky. I was a little nervous because you need 12 people to have another teacher come, and I was by myself. It was such a blessing to have these kids with me. And just a little thing for me, the best part of the trip, we were at this little Mayan chocolate factory where these people were still making chocolate by hand. And the guy was like, oh, well, what's the best part yet? And the answer was the people we have met. It wasn't anything else. It was the people and the culture and the people that were so nice to our group. And we were very fortunate with our tour guide. And coming from somebody who's been to 30 countries on their own, I think this is one of the most beneficial things, experiential learning, life, culture, food. It's the best. And these kids come back, and, you know, we have inside jokes in the hallway now. And, you know, I'm walking down the hall, I can't get away from it, but it's a wonderful experience, and I hope that you continue to prove these things, because it's great.
Great.
And then we have just a quick, I did a short little video just to get
And we were hoping.
it was really last minute, you guys were best. So you'll see just like experiences on the plane, and we catch a lot of people sleeping. It's good. So pretty much short and sweet, to the point, but just to get the gist of the whole thing. 45 kids. say a couple things about that because there's so many things that came up in there, and I'm just, too many things to remember. But these kids get up there and they talk about, they acknowledge the person who, the tour guide. They speak to them. They actually, we have to give them tips. So all of my kids are always responsible. I grabbed Lena at one point. I'm like, okay, you're going to present the tip today, and they have to go and do those sort of things within this time period. And if I could break down every single picture of those, I totally would, but I'd be here all night long. So it was just a fabulous experience, and if you ever want to chat about it, I'll spend some time with you.
Any board members with comments? Anyone, Michael?
I do. Sue, could you just come up quick? I'm interested to know where everybody's heading to next year and what the plan is for the future, because what we like to do here is bring before you international trips and do it in advance. There is a cost to it, and you heard one of our students talking about starting her planning when she was a freshman. We like to do these a year or two out so that it provides our families with the opportunity to be able to save for this trip.
Right, so the longer we have to plan for it, we can give them 2+ years. So if it's a more expensive price point, we can do that. So we rolled out Japan last year, and that's going to be in summer of next year. We have California this summer. We have Costa Rica in the springtime along with Italy, so McGrath is doing, and those are full. And then we have, again, Japan's full in the summer. We are, the following year, we're looking at spring break of 2026, doing Portugal and Spain. And yes, and Steve's going to be doing Panama. So we're trying to give a wide range of different places to go. And we have, once you get the kids and the family and the younger generation, they're already asking, what are you going to do in 2027? I'm like, ooh, I will plan that far ahead so that they can start. And if it is a higher price point, we can actually put it on the books and kids, they could just start paying monthly. So it becomes more manageable. Awesome. So that's so Portugal and Spain. What else do we say? Panama. Italy again, yeah, okay. But those were approved. So
That's wonderful. Oh, thank you. Thank
have a
you.
question. How long has this been going on for? Because I don't think this was offered when I was at the high school.
Sorry.
He now wants to
Going
go.
on for years. Mr. Sand, he did like 20+ years of doing.
Just missed
I
it.
think it's just starting, COVID had a real big impact on it. We had a lot of kids going before COVID, and then COVID hit, and then my friend Drew used to do them, but then, so now it's kind of getting the word back out, and I think Sue's done a good job of promoting it for us.
Yeah, I do have to say, thanks, Steve, for bringing it up. I'd be remiss if I didn't remember Drew Nicholas, who was a longtime staff member at the high school, who was passionate about providing students with the experience of seeing the world. And when we lost Drew, Sue stepped up and picked up that torch, if you will, and has continued to do the work. And I think of some of the other teachers, Jeff Rhodes, John Sand, you saw Officer Knapp. Officer Knapp was in Greece, Officer Knapp went to Europe. Again, part of our school community who's been instrumental in making these trips happen. So I just want to say I appreciate the support from the Board of Education for these trips. I think about our strategic plan about, bringing kids out into the community. This is truly kids being out in the community. It's being out in the world. So, and students, thank you. Thanks for your perspective. And Raj, thank you as well. Appreciate that perspective very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we'll move on. Next on tonight's agenda is the approval of the minutes for our regular Board of Ed meeting on April 23rd, 2024. Are there any corrections? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, so those minutes are passed. All right, is there anyone out there who would like to make a public comment? Please come on up to the podium and state your name and address. And may I remind you that public comments are limited to 5 minutes. And another reminder that board members do not make comments immediately following a resident speaking at the podium. So thanks for your understanding of that.
Oh, great.
Hi, Carrie Hill, 117 Randy Lane. This is really hard to say after all of that wonderfulness, so just bear with me. I stand here today extremely disappointed with the outcome of last night's 24-25 budget discussion. If I understood the town council meeting last night, that the school budget is set at $64,937,803, which is about $950,000 less than what was proposed. I ask what is responsible about losing our math intervention staff members, the additional social workers that were proposed, or the preschool, pre-kindergarten proposed positions. And in the last 24 hours, I've experienced lots of emotions: anger, mistrust, outrage, frustration, and a basic feeling of time spent, lots of time being spent, kind of feeling like it wasn't worth it. The time included being a member of the budget talk meeting that occurred in February and part of the ad hoc committee that met in December. I guess I believed that the communication was improving between all the parties, and it feels like that was kind of shattered after learning a few things, and I apologize if my information is incorrect here. I've spoken before this board before, past boards, as well as town councils, in support of our schools, for the referendum, for the needs of our educators, and I kind of feel like it's now why, for what. And in trying to gather my thoughts for speaking tonight, I was on the Board of Ed's website reviewing notes from the April 23rd Finance and Operations Committee meeting, and the quote that I'm going to read from that said, "The current budget forecast for this year is $61,888,166, or a 0.04% over budget. We saw the most negative movement or unbudgeted expenditures with our substitute teacher budget and realized the most positive movement or potential savings in replacing retirements and resignations with new hires. Insurance numbers look like they may be receding from the projected 12%, but with nothing set in stone, it's currently hopeful and wishful thinking. Hopefully that happens and we'd be able to save some of the items we have cut from our initial proposed budget," end quote. Where are those initial budget cut items? Is it possible that our substitute expenditure budget is so large because our staff members feel overworked, unsupported, and exhausted? And now we have our staff to think that they're going to lose even more supports. I sat at the February budget meeting and heard about the state funds and the magnet school reimbursement, and I guess I believed that if those funds were returned to our town, we'd have a chance to keep our math intervention staff. The website states a quote from Thomas Friedman talking about the education system and the strong fundamentals in writing, reading, coding, math, creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration. How do we really achieve these things when we keep losing resources and what we have is being stretched so thin? We are hurting all of our students. I'm tired of feeling like our taxes are going up, but we're losing things in each year's school budgets. They never seem to be coming back. Why is it that our town loses these resources, but surrounding towns have found a way to keep them in their budgets? We have a wonderful math interventionist at my children's school, and pains me to say this, I'm afraid that our community may lose her to another district. If we can't support our educators with the key resources, we might risk losing the fabulous teachers that make our schools great. This is a huge missed opportunity and one that I am deeply saddened by. You can communicate all you want about the new referendum, but please know the credibility of the people who make our fiscally responsible decisions is quite low. Why are people going to invest in a new school if we can't even budget to maintain and get the supports and resources we need for our current students? Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else? All right, thank you. Mr. Emmett, you have some communications to share.
I do, thank you. Mrs. Granato, good evening again, everyone. Actually, the public comment was very timely, because that's exactly what communications is focused on this evening, primarily. Town Council set the 24-25 budget for the Board of Education at a special meeting held here last night in council chambers. The budget allocation to the board totaled $64,937,803. This is a reduction of $946,467 from the board-approved budget of $65,884,270. The reduction was reached by council applying approximately $533,000 in savings from the health insurance budget line. The remaining $414,000 was tied to the 58% magnet school tuition cap, which was restored to the state budget last week. This adjustment brings the percentage increase from a board-requested 6.5% increase down to a 4.97% increase. This increase represents the largest budget increase the Board of Education has received since 2009, when it received a 7.63% budget increase. This 4.97% increase will cover contractual obligations, a 4% increase for health insurance, and increased ongoing costs due to inflation. What it will not cover are the 7 current grant-funded math interventionists at each school, the requested elementary level social worker to offset the loss of the clinical support provided by Effective School Solutions, which was utilized through our ARPA grant, and the addition of a pre-K section at Webb, which was to include a preschool teacher, a speech and language clinician, and 3 paraeducators. At the present time, we are looking to place those staff members under contract into positions that will be vacated due to retirements or resignations. We'll be utilizing the union contract to determine bumping rights as well as the total number of staff members that we must non-renew. Once this process is completed, we will bring forward an action to the board for the rescinding of the rest of the non-renewals. So this is certainly, an uncomfortable situation. In my tenure here as your superintendent of schools, we have not had to do a reduction in force. Right now, at this point in time, we're looking at probably between 2 and 3 staff members. Again, it's subject to change as we see additional movement, but it is the reality. It's unfortunate, and I can certainly understand the concern brought forward by the resident. With that being said, we continue to be committed to making sure that we're providing the best possible outcomes for all of our students, and that will not change. A couple of other items this evening. I'm very pleased to report that I received the grant commitment letter from the state of Connecticut yesterday morning. The Department of Administrative Services has awarded the Silas Deane HVAC grant for the chiller and the air handler system. The total request submitted through a joint effort of the town of Wethersfield and the Wethersfield Board of Education was $1,626,977. With a reimbursement rate of 56.79%, the town stands to receive a reimbursement of approximately $923,960. The commitment letter has been signed by the town and returned to DAS, so architectural and engineering work can now commence. It is anticipated this project will be completed in 2025, given the fact that the amount of lead time to construct a chiller unit is approximately 40 weeks. So this information's been shared with the current building committee, and that work is beginning in earnest. And then finally, tonight, I do want to make mention of the calendar, because we are under 1 month away from the end of the school year. We are under 1 month away from graduation, so the time is going very quickly. We have a variety of activities that are going on in our schools across the district, from their graduations to concerts, wrapping up our spring sports season. A huge shout out to our students at Wethersfield High School, who last Saturday provided the Cabaret for a Cause, which was a great fundraiser. So there's a great deal going on. I also want to let you know that this Friday I'll be meeting with high school administration. We will be going over the process for graduation. I am wishing for sunny skies, low humidity, temperatures in the upper 70s for that day. And that graduation date is Wednesday, the 12th of June. And with that, that's communications.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Emmett. Thank you. All right, well, tonight we have no action items, but stay tuned, because next week we have a student program and services meeting. But we do have a presentation this evening, and Marjorie Callan Carson, who is the board's communication chair, will be presenting the results of our building survey. Thank you, Marjorie.
Okay, great, thank you. I didn't realize it'd be so dark.
Can you read?
Yeah, I can read, I'm fine. I'm Marjorie Callan-Carson. I'm the chair of the Community and Public Relations, and we conducted a survey to get more feedback from the community about what they would, what they thought about the last referendum and what they might want to see in the future as far as our schools, our elementary schools are concerned. The second, do I have to do that? Do this one. There we go. So the original survey message to the community was just kind of explaining that, and the Wethersfield Board of Education is gathering feedback. Although the 2022 referendum failed, we are now moving forward with the next step to create a whole long-range building plan that we hope will be approved. And of course, there's a lot of factors that go into, and will go into the planning, a lot of things that might be out of our control. But we felt it would be great to first hear public input that we hadn't heard maybe after the last referendum. So the survey ran from April 11th through Tuesday, April 29th. It was given through Parent Square to parents. It was put on the town website and the town Facebook page. It was sent out through Facebook. It was sent out through the town email. It was sent out through the senior citizen community, and so we hope that it would reach a lot of the community. And we got over, I think it was 1,079 survey results, which is pretty good. And it was probably a pretty good representation of each group. Mostly it was parents, though, and soon-to-be parents, and staff. So it was staff, parents, future parents, current parents, residents, or just community members that maybe own property and they could still participate, staff members, like I said, and then also students enrolled in the schools. So this next slide explains that. 54.8%, actually more like over 60% were either current or future parents, and 23% were just residents. Staff members were about 10%. I was hoping maybe getting a few more staff members, but that's how many did a survey, and about 39 students. And the students it was just sent to the high school students. And so, is the second one? Yeah. So this next slide is asks for the referendum, the last referendum, which option applies to you, if you voted in favor of it, if you voted against, just to get a feel of who, because we can kind of analyze how many people voted against it last time or didn't vote at all. So it was mostly in favor. 38% that answered this said they voted in favor. 32% they said they voted against it. 23% they did not vote, which was a pretty large number, and a large number of them were current or future parents. When I dissected it down, a lot of them were, possibly people who will vote in the future, but had not voted this time for whatever reason. We don't know. They may not have lived here at the time, or they just didn't get to the polls that day. And then there were certain people who just didn't want to say how they voted, right? And this slide basically said, if you voted against the referendum last time, which of the following describes the main reasons? And so, most said, well, I did vote for it. So that was 508 people who said they voted for it, so it didn't really apply to them. Cost was the next answer, which was about 23% said the reason they didn't vote for it was the cost. Charles Wright was 9.3%, the closing of Charles Wright. Not enough information was 9.1%. Just generally the location of buildings and the size of the buildings was a couple percentage points, not too big of a reason. So this wasn't a surprise to me going through that. The next slide was kind of getting an idea of what people might want to see if we chose to, or in the future, change the grade structure. Because a lot of people ask a lot of times, why can't we put the 6th grade in the Silas Deane Middle School, like most communities have moved their 6th grades out? There is no space for that at the current time, and I don't think even if we built onto it, there'd be enough space. I think even parking is an issue just for teachers that are there now. So here was, what kind of grade structure would you like to see, or would you be most comfortable with? So, 505 wanted to keep it as a K through 5 school system. And then there was kind of a breakdown of K through 4 with a 5-6 school. That was 314. There was just a K through 5 with a 6th grade school only that some communities also have. That was 154. And then one of the more drastic changes, I wouldn't say in a negative way, but there are school systems like Suffield and others that have a cluster school system. East Lyme has this where there's just one school that's all K through 2 for the entire town, one school that's 3 through 4 for the entire town, so everyone who's a third grader goes to that school, and then so on and so forth. So it's 106 people said that would be their first, so this is basically just what people's first option would be, right? But interestingly, if you add all the options besides K through 6, they add up to actually more than K through 6. So 574 people voted for an alternative besides K through 6, which I thought was interesting. Number 5, if the school district keeps our current K through 6 structure, which would you prefer from the following choices? The number of schools. So obviously it shows that keeping all 5 would be the most preferred, the number 1 choice, with the 643, and or reduced to 4, 307, or reduced to 3, 129. And this is based on kind of, so people are like, where did you get this? Why are you asking these questions? But a lot of towns do have some of these other kinds of different school setups. So it's just good to kind of look at what are the other possibilities. Just thinking outside the box, would you like this? Would you like that? What would you consider this? So for the most part, which I wasn't surprised by, most people said keep it as 5 schools, 643. If you combined reduced to 3 or reduced to 4, that's about 436 schools, 36 votes. And this slide was basically the ranking of, maybe issues that are important to them in how we decide these things or how the plan will go moving forward as far as like building new or redone. Obviously, the biggest issue for most people is safety and health and security by far. And the second, but that was like 689 votes was number 1 ranking there. Cost came in second, but it was at 197, pretty much, so lower. Location use was 39, neighborhood impact 79, and traffic was 16. And space for STEM or something involving maybe a STEM school or a STEM emphasis or STEAM was 60 votes. And I would say the number 2 issue for if it was something else like health and safety was first. The number 2 issue kind of came to a close second with cost, STEM, and health and safety, and neighborhood impact kind of similarly, kind of numbers of votes. So there's information that you can look at the ranking there of 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And finally, the question is, in your opinion, how important is the condition of our elementary schools and how it affects our residential property values? And this slide shows most people felt it was either very high or high, and or moderate. So good indication of that, how people feel about the importance of this issue. And then I broke it down somewhat, and I'm still looking at, it's hard not to keep just looking at data. So, but I broke it down from, in staff. This is not going to be on the slide. I'll probably add this later, because I just did it recently. But, so if you just break it down to what staff thought, and the staff was 16 people. The question was, what grade structure would you prefer? Only 20 preferred K through 6, 61 preferred K through 4, or K through 5 was 24. So about 60 of the 85 staff members thought a K through 4, K through 5 class setup would be better, or cluster. So I thought that was interesting on the staff, from the staff mindset. If we kept 5 schools, most of the teachers preferred having, or depending on how many schools would you prefer, most of the teachers preferred keeping at 5 with 74 votes there. Health and safety was overwhelmingly the big issue for staff, about almost 90 of them. So the other issues were kind of just not really that as important. And then property values, they related it as pretty high relation to the quality of the schools. When you break it down to current or future parents, I'm trying to think, what did they say? Current or future parents, how did they vote? 110 did not vote. Voted against was 206, voted for 311, So there's kind of a balance there. Reasons why you voted against. Some people just said not enough info, and cost was up there, and closing of Charles Wright was 67 people. But more of this information is going to come out on an actual slide when I add it. What grade structure would you prefer as a current or future parent? K through 6 was 336, K through 4, K through 5 was 278, so kind of a balance there, 50-50. But most obviously preferred, and this is the common theme, 5 schools. And there was a comment section, which was many, many, many comments, 402. 348, basically 86% were neutral, 8% were kind of negative, 6% were positive. Most of them were pretty constructive. But 30% said just something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. Not everyone commented though, just only so many people did. 16% said don't do it all at once, do it more incrementally. A lot of people commented we just need to invest in our schools and our buildings. 10% said taxes are already too high, so they were complaining about, it was more of a comment on the cost of it. I would say about 20% of people did make a comment about health, air quality, safety, that was an important thing for them. About 5% commented about not closing Charles Wright, and some complained that the schools were too crowded right now, which they are. They're very bursting right now. We have a lot of kids in these schools. So I will try to get more of that information put in slides as far as like how it breaks down by staff and residents and parents as we go forward. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions for Marjorie?
I have a few. First, the board, as a board member, I'm requesting that we get all the raw data sent to us, like all the survey results, please, so that we can all see them, so we can all surmise our own information from it. But a couple things. When we put the slide out about Southside Middle School and the change there, I had a lot of comments from people asking about what the cost impact would be. So I think we missed the boat on there. Like, what does it change if we go to a K-4 school setting or a 6th grade only? People want to know if there's a cost impact, and we know there is, but we didn't have that information. And do we know if people actually knew what a cluster school is? Because there's no definition.
I can't remember.
It was explained in the survey.
Is there?
I remember reading it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have the actual survey in front of me.
So most of the comments I received from people were that they were asking them to vote on different scenarios, but we're not giving them any cost impact, what the benefits of those scenarios are, so they're kind of blindly voting on whatever their knowledge base is, and not really an informed opinion on it.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all your hard work, and I love the analysis, because being a math guy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The point also was try to keep it brief, because we wanted people to be able to do it really quickly and not say they didn't want to do it because there was too many questions. But you do get in the weeds, because we don't know the answers to these questions either as far as cost. So the next steps are to kind of focus our direction with the building committee to look at kind of like, well, if that was a direction we were going to go to, or these 3 kind of options, what would be the cost implication for that? And would it be feasible based on the land we have, the cost, the transportation, all those issues?
Thank you. I don't think we should underestimate the people who took this survey, too. I think they did a lot of work to put those answers in there. I know the information was out there, they got the information, or they searched it themselves. I thank you very much, you and your committee, for all the work that was done on this and all the data we have going forward. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Anyone else? Okay, thank you again, Marjorie. I'll just wait a minute. Okay, we have meetings held, and what a perfect segue right here. We have facilities and maintenance. John?
Yeah, can we have Marjorie come up and give the presentation again? The last facilities meeting we met and went over the survey results. So I want to again thank all the public who obviously took the survey. Thank you for Marjorie and the Community Relations Committee also putting it together. It was great collaboration between both facilities and community, I will say that. And we went over the results. They'll be shared obviously publicly now through those notes as well as tonight's meeting as well. So that's what we did in that meeting.
Okay, thank you. In our WECC, Wethersfield Early Childhood Collaborative, Janice was here, and she had to go home, so we'll get that report another time. And Marjorie, we're putting you on the spot again with the Board of Education and Wethersfield Federation of Teachers Communication Committee.
Right,
The minutes.
So at 4 o'clock today, between 4 and 5:30, we had a meeting with the Wethersfield Federation of Teachers Communications Committee. The purpose of it was, and this was my first time at this meeting as well, to start engaging more before negotiations. Next year, we're going to have to negotiate to another collective bargaining agreement with the teachers union, and this was a way to just start conversations of issues that impact them, or that they want to bring up or talk to us more about, instead of waiting till right before the contract negotiations. Some of the issues were just better communication overall between these groups. Issues with substitutes not filling or needing to cover substitutions. Health insurance, which is an issue they want us to look into more and talk to them more about. And maybe more actions with teacher flexibility, teacher appreciation, and just better communication overall. So I thought it was a very productive meeting. I learned a lot from it, and I really appreciate the comments they made and the discussion we had. And I'm looking forward to the next one.
Thank you, Marjorie. It was a productive meeting. Thank you. And then meetings that are scheduled. CREC, the Council for CREC is meeting on 5/15/24, and it's their annual meeting. Human Resource and Personnel Committee is meeting on 5/20/24 at 6 o'clock, and you'll be hearing from them next board meeting. And Student Program and Services Committee is 5/21/24 at 6 o'clock. Finance and Operation Committee, 5/28/24 at 6 o'clock. And Community and Public Relations Committee, 5/30/24 at 6 o'clock. So again, is there anyone wishing to make a public comment? Come on up to the podium and state your name and address. And may I remind you that public, we have a 5-minute limit.
Hi, my name is Mary Kay Jensen. I'm at 23 Quail Hill. I'm always coming from top class.
It's okay. I'm glad you're here.
I'm just coming to speak tonight because I feel an overwhelming sense of loss with the news that our math specialists funding is cut, and that we're not getting the social workers that we desperately need and the preschool teachers. I think there's probably arguments on both sides. Probably the Board of Ed should never have pre-negotiated the budget and cut things ahead of time, and that maybe the town council should have put some excess cost savings back into the Board of Ed in good faith. Last time I was here, I spoke to the children who were receiving services that will not have services next year, and I can't help but always be overcome with tears, because next year it's just going to be a bunch of teachers on their own with 27 kids trying to figure out how to hold up the whole classroom. And you've taken the one expert and removed them out of the classroom on a year where they have a brand new math curriculum that is so talk-heavy, students standing up, walking around. They're not like back in the day sitting at desks anymore where you can just walk around and make corrections. You need more people in the classroom. You've taken less out, and you haven't figured out how to negotiate that budget so that if you were to get money back, and you did, you couldn't fight for that budget anymore. And I'm going to talk now about the high-achieving students, which no one ever talks about, because if you have a student like that, you just got to sit there and be modest and pretend that everything's fine, and it's not. If you have a kid that is gifted and talented, you get a meeting, and they're like, congratulations, this is really a high honor. And then you say, great, what happens next? And then they look at you and they say, well, nothing, it's just paperwork, but it could be good for middle school. Oh, great, what will happen in middle school with this paperwork? Well, nothing, but we're really proud of your child. That's your district right now. There's nothing for your high-achieving students, nothing. And where's the measurements on my child of what are the expectations? Like, I have a Fitbit, and my Fitbit has expectations for me. It's measuring my growth. It's giving me goals, and then I try to meet my goals. Am I to have a teacher try to raise my kid up like that when she's trying to just keep the middle from falling to the bottom and the kids at the bottom trying to move them up? Nobody cares about the high-achieving students because they can't. There's not enough time. So as a parent, every year I have to hope I have an outstanding teacher, an absolutely outstanding teacher who can differentiate. And I think all of them can. It's really if they have time. How many special needs students do they have in their class? How many students are in their class? How much help? Do we have a math specialist who's coming in? The answer post-COVID was yes. What a blessing. And now the answer is going to be no. And so now I just have to, Anders, maybe next year. Maybe next year you get the challenge you need. Next year's middle school, maybe it'll be better. That's your district. You need money in the budget. You need people to advocate for it. And you need to listen to the people in this building because everybody said a math specialist is the most important person in the building. You can always push a person up to read, but if a person doesn't get past multiplication, they are drowning for the rest of their time in elementary school. You're not coming back from that. This is maddening, and the teacher morale is low. They don't know how they're going to do it. I can walk in that building. I was in there 5 days last week for teacher appreciation. I walked in there today. It felt different. The teachers feel this, and they don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if this has been decided. I thought it was decided on the 15th. I was watching the meeting yesterday, and $100,000 is going to a playground, and look at, I believe in safety. But why that school? Was there an assessment for every playground in school? How did they choose that? And that over a teacher? And what about other safety issues? My school's falling apart. I don't really know what else to say, because last time I got up here and I was crying, and now I'm just mad. And I have an overwhelming sense of loss. It's not about my math specialist. You can say, well, she's not going to lose her job. Well, I don't want her as a classroom teacher. She's a math expert who needs to be working hand in hand with our teachers. She doesn't belong in a classroom teaching every subject. We need her expertise. You need her expertise for the children who are low. You need her expertise for the children who are. She is the only resource of a mom of a high-achieving student. That was the only thing I can say in the meeting is I would like at least for the math specialist to conference with the math teacher.
Mary Kay?
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, now I can't do that, so I have no resources. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else? All right, are there any board comments?
I have some, Bobby.
Okay, Matt?
Thank you, Bobby. So first, I just want to thank the community and the Public Relations Committee, Marjorie, John, Liz, Christina, and Michael, for their work on the survey recently. I know how much work goes into something like that and how much time it takes and commitment, and we appreciate the results from that. I know the community appreciates being heard, being able to voice their opinion on something that needs to be done. So thank you for your work on that. On a positive note, Marjorie and I attended the WPS art show at the Keeney Center, what was that, 2 weeks ago? And wow, some of that stuff I would put up on my wall. These kids are seriously impressive. Finally, we have negotiations ongoing with 2 different bargaining units of WPS employees. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Liz, for your help on that. We're trying to do everything we can to show these school employees and district employees that they mean a lot to us, they're valuable to us, and we have to do that being mindful of the town's budget. So that is ongoing and will continue. Thank you, Bobby.
Okay, thank you. Chuck?
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. First, I want to congratulate the kid chair. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you for coming, staying the whole time. And everyone should know Emma missed her softball game to be here with us.
I know, she was talking, yeah.
It's awesome, but I hope you enjoyed it. Just also following up on the kid chair's essay talking about more supplies, more money. I'm also disappointed in the 5 council members who voted for that budget last night. To piggyback on the 2 public speakers, we were told this council was not going to cut the board's budget when they got it, and that's exactly what they did. They cut our budget yet again. It happens year after year. It doesn't matter who's sitting there. They only care about our taxes and not our students, and it's disappointing that that happened yet again. That's it.
Okay, anyone else? Marjorie?
I just want to talk about, I'm going to kind of take Janice's thunder by talking about WECC a little, because WECC created a folder for incoming parents, new parents, and kindergarten parents, and through school, family, community partnerships, and it's just going to be a great resource for people. So I brought a little example here, but it's just about frequently asked questions, a message from the mayor, a calendar from the town, and also a calendar for the school system, and different parent square, oops, I'm gonna show, and ways of doing Google translation for many different languages that are spoken in this town by school children, and just a great resource to hand to first parents that are coming into the school system. So I just wanted to do a shout out for that effort. I just also want to say that the school budget, it's always a battle. It's the biggest one it's the biggest increase in many, many years, but there's just so much need, especially after COVID, and it's hard to explain to people. It really is hard to explain to people, especially with inflation. There's just so many things happening at once, and if we could do better, if we could add more, we would, and we just can't this year. So I also am very disappointed. So I understand people's stress about this.
Okay, thank you. All right, I do want to make a comment about the board budget just very quickly, in that, we're all disappointed when we don't get everything we want, but I do have a report here on the Keene Foundation and the Wethersfield Education Foundation. In our strategic plan, we knew this was going to happen all the time because of the way our tax base is. It's our property owners. So we have Keene Foundation. They just received a $600,000 grant. Thank goodness for the Keene Foundation. I don't know what it's going to be used for. That's their decision along with the Wethersfield Public School. But I did have the 3 comments tonight. First, we did have a Keene for Kids meeting on Thursday, April 25th, and Caroline Facina gave an update on the Keene after-school program with 771 participants at all our elementary schools. The elementary school plays have made Wethersfield like a mini Broadway, and they have been receiving wonderful reviews. Their hands-on science is finishing the year in kindergarten. This is the 4th year for this Keene program for K through 6 students. The Keene Foundation depends on grants and their town events of the 5K run, the carnival in October, and the golf tournament on Monday, May 20th at the Wethersfield Country Club. Please do your part and participate in these events. There will be a summer school this year at Emerson Williams School. This is a collaborative with Keene and the Wethersfield Public School for grades 1 through 8. Watch for the catalog and sign up. And Encore is an after-school program at Silas, Deane Middle School, and has been a very successful program and a model for working with our middle schoolers along with youth services and PAL. So thank you, Judy Keene and your foundation. And the Wethersfield Education Foundation is working on teacher grants. Teachers, please apply for these enrichment monies for your classrooms this fall. The foundation continues with Thank a Teacher project and the delightful Junk in the Trunk money raiser. Please check their website for details as this dedicated group raises money to enhance and enrich our curriculum. And finally, in the past month, the Board of Ed has received many letters from concerned parents. Please know that the board hears you and that we hold it as a top priority to make our schools and classrooms safe and secure environments in which to learn. We appreciate that all the concerns are brought up to the board have followed the chain of communicating first with teachers and administrators. Please continue to work with them on problems and solving them. Yet in our small town democracy, the Board of Ed members are elected officials. We are here because of you. Residents and parents, we are listening and responding now and in the future to your concerns. As I have said, we're here for you and your children, and when a problem gets to us, we will involve you and our administration to find the answers that work for our students in our classrooms and in our schools. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved, Mayor.
Mary, I can't believe I forgot you. I have you in bold print here. Mary, Life at the High School.
Thank you. The performers at last Saturday's student-run Cabaret for a Cause did an amazing job, and all proceeds went to the Tide Cancer Foundation. Also, Walk for Val this past Saturday was a fundraiser in honor of a WHS graduate, Valerie Peral, who we sadly lost to cancer. It was a great event and raised money for a student scholarship in Val's name. Last Friday was the girls lacrosse's Fight for the Cure game, which raised over $300 for the American Cancer Society. And yesterday, boys lacrosse won their game against Berlin, and boys and girls tennis won their matches against New Britain. Tomorrow is WHS Decision Day, when seniors wear t-shirts to show their future plans. And tomorrow is also the spring blood drive, will be taking place throughout the day. This Thursday, the Geography Club will be hosting their annual Geography Challenge. Finally, AP testing ends after 2 weeks this Friday, and we're looking forward to some more fun events at WHS as the school year wraps up.
Okay, thank you, Mary. And I still have to find out what you won. I'll report it next board meeting. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, may I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Anyone? Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all, and good night.